Hello friend, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. Today's video is going to be a little different than what you normally see here, but it still falls under the category of homemaking. So I'm really excited to bring you this type of content also. Today I'm going to show you how to make this bow pillow. So if you'd like to see more of this type of content, more of a tutorial style, then make sure you subscribe and hit the like button and leave me a comment letting me know that you'd like to see more of this type. Let's get started. So the very first thing I wanted to do was to measure my pillow, and I used my cutting mat since it has the inches on it, and I figured out that this pillow that I'm going to be recovering is 18 by 13. Now when you're covering a pillow, you want to add an inch to each of those measurements. So I'm going to cut my fabric 19 by 14. That way you have half an inch of seam allowance on each side. Now, since I am using a piece of fabric that I thrifted, I didn't have much choice in what type of fabric it was, and this is a knit fabric. It's not my favorite to sew. I love how it feels, but it is a little tricky to sew because it does tend to crawl. So be careful not to stretch it out if you do use a knit, and you may have to measure it a few times. So be very careful and remember to measure twice and cut once. Then I flipped my fabric where the right side, or the pretty side, was facing the inside, so the wrong side was out, so that I could use my pillow as a guide when pinning the length. Next, I took the pillow out of the cover and took it to my sewing machine. Now, I want to say again that I am using a knit fabric, so if you use a knit to cover a pillow or just to sew with in general, be very careful not to pull or stretch it as you're sewing because it will stretch out and the seam line will get wavy. Now, using my pillow as a guide again, I'm going to make sure that it is the right size, and I'm going to pin one side. Do not pin both sides, only pin one shut. And again, like before, take it to the sewing machine and sew that side up. Here I am clipping the corners so that when I turn it inside out, or right side out actually, the corners are not bulky and they come to a nice point. After that, you're going to turn your pillow cover right side out and stuff your pillow into it. Now this part gets a little tricky to explain, but I'm going to try my best. So what you're going to do on the side that is still open, you're going to tuck in and fold over the open sides. Then you're going to pin them shut with right sides facing each other.
This next part is the hardest part. A lot of people would probably tell me to sew it by hand, but I hate sewing by hand, including buttons and pillow covers, so I'm going to do it by my machine. But in doing that, you got to be careful, especially using knit. I actually did accidentally stretch it out here a little bit, but you're going to carefully, if you decide to use your machine, scrunch your pillow down and sew the fabric shut. It is really hard and really tricky, and I probably should have done it by hand, but I've seen my mom do it by machine a few times and she did it just fine. Now, closing your pillow cover this way, you will see the thread that you use, so make sure to make a wise decision on what color thread you're using. If you're making a plain pillowcase, like just a regular throw pillow, you could totally stop your sewing there and be done. Congratulations. But I wanted to make a bow pillow, so if you're making this bow pillow as well, you're going to need some yarn or some kind of string to tie around the middle to get that bow effect. I tied it 3 times and then made a very secure knot right in the middle. Then I took some of the same fabric. I wanted the stripes to go a different direction, so I cut them horizontally. This part doesn't have a specific measurement. I was just going by what I thought would look good. So yeah, whatever you think looks good is what you should do. Then, just like the pillow, you're going to flip it right sides together and sew the length first. Then I cut off the excess because it was a little crazy and I don't want this part to be bulky. At this point, you should have a long, narrow tube. You're going to turn it right side out. Use your pillow to make sure you got it the right length. Then, if you did, you're going to sew the short sides together, and it's totally okay if you got a little off. It doesn't matter. It won't be showing anyway. Flip it inside out. It should look like a headband. Maybe we can make headbands together one day. Then you're going to fit it around your pillow. And last, straighten out the middle part so it looks nice and neat, and make sure you tuck your yarn strings in, and now you're done. We have a bow pillow. This pillow will be featured in an upcoming makeover video that I'm super excited to share with you. So what do you think? Did you like this type of video, kind of short, sweet tutorial? Let me know in the comments.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know if you decide to try to make yourself a bow pillow. If you liked this video, go ahead and hit the like button and drop me a comment. And remember that God made you on purpose and for a purpose, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!